Showtime.
Save me, darling. I am down, but I am more than over. Give me something. I need it all, 'cause I am running over. And I'm never gonna give you up for someone else's love. Never gonna let you go and lose the one I love. Whoa, tonight.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show. Our guest tonight may share a surname with a Hollywood A-lister, but he is a talent in his own right. He was a Grammy and Golden Globe nominee. He's a singer, songwriter, musician, actor, and now filmmaker. And he does it all seamlessly. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, Frank Stallone. Frank, thank you for coming
Hello.
to the show.
From sunny, well, actually rainy California today.
Oh, well, we're swapping weather patterns. We're dry right now.
I heard
We had the-
Philadelphia, though, is going through floods.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
true?
over the
100-year
weekend.
floods in some areas.
I mean, really bad, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Wow.
saw some people on Facebook. They were like, enough with the biblical rain already.
Is it like in downtown Philadelphia, more or less? Or
Yeah, they had some flash flooding in Philly and then Bucks County and whatnot.
Wow.
We got it real bad in Chester County like a month ago, and we kind of missed this one. So
Man, that's interesting. Oh, okay.
so you miss it. I can tell you miss Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait. I'd love to have that clean Schuylkill water river flowing over my body. Yeah.
Yeah, you're ready to get out there on the kayak.
Oh, yeah, man. Can't wait. Yeah, it's been a while. I haven't been back to Philadelphia since Rocky Balboa, when we did the movie and then came back later and did the dedication to the statue.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
I
a
love that
while.
statue. Well, we want to turn back the clock with you a little bit because we always like to ask our guests, because you are so talented, Frank. I mean,
Thank you.
you really are, and you're so accomplished. When did you realize as a young boy that you had this talent and that this was your thing?
Well, I think as a young boy, I realized what I wanted to do. I don't know if I was really aware of the level of talent or, anything at that point, but I just knew in the 50s when I opened my mouth and started singing, and then I was like, all these people were looking at me, my relatives. I figured, that's kind of cool, And then when I saw Elvis, that kind of put the nail in the coffin. That was about. Before it was more like, not Jerry Vale, more like Sinatra, Dean Martin, Nat Cole, that type stuff, And then when rock and roll hit, I was over my Aunt Nancy's on Missouri Avenue in Washington. It was 1956, and we saw Elvis first time on TV. That was it, done. And my relatives, most of them couldn't speak English too well, and they were like, "Yeah, so is this guy?" And we were sitting there, my cousins were like, "Oh, yeah, totally cool." Yeah, greasy hair, long sideburns, because no one ever seen anything like him before, So that was the major hook, because then with that came the Everly Brothers and of course Jerry Lee Lewis. That was really the birth of rock and roll. I mean, Carl Perkins, Little Richard, Chuck Berry. So that was our thing. And then there were the doo-wop groups, like the Platters, the Spaniels, and all that stuff like that. So it was actually a really cool time, the blending of rock and roll and rhythm and blues and a lot together. So that was a real potpourri of music. And then when the Beatles came out, that really put the nail in the coffin. My parents said, we've lost him, it's over. Everything now was like British, pea coats, Beatle haircuts, Beatle boots from Tom McCann's, just all that stuff like that.
So you
Flag
did
Brothers.
all that, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, in those days it was like, being British was the thing, so, and my hair was kind of curly, so I tried to straighten it, Beatle haircut, pea coat, white jeans with Beatle boots from Flag Brothers. And then we go downtown and meet the girls at the Eagle at John Wanamaker's, the whole thing,
Oh my God, Wanamaker's, that's a name from the past.
Oh, that was a great store, man. That was a beautiful store. There were a lot of, that's the same thing. I mean, downtown Philadelphia in those days, you had Lit Brothers, you had Bonwit Tellers, you had Gimbals, you had John Wanamaker's, Bambergers. I mean, you had a lot of, downtown was flourishing. I mean, Market Street, when I was a kid, I mean, it was just filled with movie theaters and theatrical shops. And my safety patrol, I was on the safety patrol. My thing was 21st and Market. And it used to be a thing called the Erlanger Theater there, which they tore down. And performing there was Lucille Ball and Wildcat. That was the billboard out front. And I was like, oh God, well, forget it.
Did you meet her?
No, I was just on the safety patrol.
Oh, she's my idol.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, I did. I have met her. I didn't meet her then. That was 1958. No.
Wow. Well, there's another store, Frank, that I wanted to just ask you about. And again, this is kind of going back to your younger years, but I remember a story about a particular summer when you worked your tail off, saved up $150, go to 8th Street Music, buy a bass guitar, you bring it home, and your stepfather, who had initially said that if you work for it and save for it, you can have it, takes it from you.
Yes, he did. I never got a chance to really play it.
Yeah. I mean,
that was devastating. You know where I worked? Gino Marchetti's on Roosevelt Boulevard. Yeah. So a whole summer for $150. I mean, that's kind of slave labor now, but because I had a band and we didn't have a bass guitar. So I had my friend and I playing guitar and we had a drummer. So I just turned all the treble off on my guitar. So that was like our bass guitar, So, and I couldn't play bass, but I figured, well, someone's got to do it. So I bought this bass, and my stepfather, who was really, it wasn't cool. I mean, but he did that. And he said, well, if you work, you can buy anything, if you earn it. And I did. And they took it away. So that was really bad news. That was a drag. That was not fun at all. But I finally, because he was never in town, so I'd take it anyway, go in the closet, just play.
I was going to say, that had to have an impact on you.
Oh, it did. Oh, of course. The impact was never tell him the truth again. So there you go. He was like old school Sicilian guy. I mean, he didn't get me at all. Nothing. He didn't get what I was about at all. You know what I mean? Yeah, when are you going to get a job, cut your hair, all this stuff. It was a horror show. So the second I could bolt, I was out. Yeah.
I understand, as accomplished as you are as a musician, you got that way without knowing how to read music. No,
I went to music school, but here's the problem. I realized I have ADD. I have a learning. I can't, even though I can play music and I understand it, for some reason I could not apply, all the notes. And I realized, and my brother is somewhat the same way. We just have ADD, and we didn't come from a, I mean, we are really unlikely candidates to do what we do. My father was a hairdresser. Okay. So it wasn't like we came from the Rothschilds or like artsy fartsy, background. So we both went into different fields in show business, but just kind of by happenstance,
Yeah. I was going to ask you, as a kid, I'm sorry, Bill, did you see that for yourself, or like you said,
absolutely. Yeah. Never wanted to be a fireman, didn't want to be a cop, didn't want to be like all that stuff. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in show business. I wanted to be a musician. That's it.
Frank, we're going to come back and touch on what you just said a couple more times, but I just need to throw something out there right now, because as you were telling that part of the story, I flashed back to when I was in high school and when I was in college, and I wanted to be either a rock star or a sports reporter. And I
That's
got
a big width right there.
zero support,
Yeah, zero. Yeah, I didn't get it.
You're going to work at General Electric like your dad did for 38 years at 32nd and Chestnut. You're going to go to Boeing, or you're going to do whatever,
Yeah.
did.
No,
So
I get it. I get it, man. Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, they for some reason they had this idea, because if your uncle or your father worked at the job, that's what you were going to do. I had no intention of being a hairdresser at all, so but you have to understand, Bill, back then it's not like it is now. I mean, we're talking about the only social media was the radio and newspapers.
Yeah.
Period. And we would do the hops, like with the boss jocks, like Long John Wade and Joe Niagara, Jake Cook. So they would have, and we did the battle of the bands, and I think we won. I think we got ripped off, but that's another story. And those were really fun times, because you're 16 years old. I mean, at one point we couldn't even, our parents had to drive us to the gig, which was really embarrassing, because we thought we were too cool for school. We thought we were like the Beatles, or here's my mom. It's like, so it was like kind of really kind of strange.
But it does sound like you had so much fun. And look, there's so much kind of young innocence to that, to be able to pursue your dream, even if you're not making any money. And then when you get that first buck, it's like so exciting.
We never made, I know how much money we made. The first gig I ever did, that's before we had a bass start. The three of us, we played on our drummer's lawn next door. He was having a party. And I think we got paid, the whole group, $5, and happy to get it in 1965. So it was like $1.60 each or something like that. And it was like, yeah, hell, we'll take it, And sometimes you pay for nothing, but a lot of it was practicing in the basement. And the whole thing was like just the image of, I mean, they had so many magazines out there. They had 16, Teen Beat, Tiger Beat, Bing. I had every one of them. Seriously, I had stacks as tall as I am of magazines. And I really was a bad student in school. I wasn't a bad kid, I just learning problems, right? And my stepfather took all those magazines and threw them in the incinerator. Oh. And they were all mint condition, perfect. And Beatle posters, by the way, I had. And so I had that kind of stuff to contend with, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like Happy Days, with Richie and his parents. But against all that, you had to have a thick skin. You know what I mean? You have to have a belief that you can really do it. I mean, you can't have a belief like, hey man, I'm going to play local bars. If that's where your level is, then you've set your bar there, then fine. My bar was, I wanted to be like, Shea Stadium, that's where I wanted to go. But I was really into, it wasn't about the money for me. It was the whole idea of like what you were saying, Rosie, the discovery when you're a kid, wow.
Well, the thing, Frank, that I love about you, and especially after having watched your documentary, and we'll get to that in just a second, is that no matter what, you have stayed the course. You're still, shooting a straight arrow here with what you're supposed to do.
Still in the game.
What your purpose is. And no matter how many times you've gotten knocked down, or maybe things didn't go exactly the way you wanted them to, or felt you warranted, you're like, I'm still doing it. And I have a lot of admiration for that.
Thank you. Because, actually in my situation, my brother and myself, not having like stellar educations, is not like we went to like, Princeton. We barely got out of high school. When there was really nowhere else to go. I mean, that's what we did. I mean, wasn't like, well, if this doesn't work out, I got my MBA and I'll go, work at Drexel Institute of Technology or something. There was no out. That was it. So, but it was okay because I dug it. I liked it. You know what I mean? I liked the idea of it. And I don't think that's why I stayed in it, because there was nowhere to go. I think I stayed into it because I liked it.
I just want to be loved. I want to feel don't wanna give up, lose my faith and begin again. It's gotta have feelings, it's gotta have meaning, 'cause I need a reason to carry on. I wanna have someone, don't wanna be lonely, 'cause I need a reason to carry on.
With my education, what could I have done? Like like work in a feed store. I don't know.
Well, I think you just recognized what you were meant to do. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's that's a great blessing.
Yeah.
Now, I think also, Frank, that you seem to have a good sense of humor. And Bill and I, when we heard the title of your documentary, folks, the title of Frank's documentary is Stallone, Frank, that is.
Yeah, in little words. Yeah.
That's fantastic. We love that you did that.
Well, I did that because that's what always people go. All right, Stallone. Yeah, it's Sly's brother Frank. Yeah, or when I do these bad movies, like these bad action movies, I was starting out. So I did one with Chris Mitchum, who's Robert Mitchum's son. If you saw the poster, Stallone, Mitchum, they're back. And then underneath, like in little microscopic, Frank and Chris. So, I mean, so that's kind of where that comes from. Stallone, Frank, that is. Because I figured I would do this documentary and have this big Stallone, like, dun, 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 dun. That is. Like, so in other words, that pulls you in, then you go, oh, okay, there we go.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a sense of humor, Rosie, in this gig, you will. I mean, there are people that, I mean, they off themselves. This is a very, they always ask me, oh, well, my daughter, she wants to be an actress, go to Hollywood. I said, forget it. I said, you know what? Honest to God, her chances are like millions to one.
Yeah, but Frank, you can't say that. You should be encouraging her, because you know that if you have that in your heart, you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, I think you can tell, but some people think it's like a folly, like it's a lark, because they were like the cutest girl in high school. They're going to come to Hollywood. There's millions of those coming. I acted my 4-H club. I said, wait, you kidding me? This is Hollywood. This is like eat you alive here. You have to have a thick skin.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
I've encouraged people to have talent, though.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Frank. You have to have the talent, and that's one of the other things with you as well, is that you were putting in the time. You were, and again, it's mentioned in the documentary, all that you went through with American Tragedy and the 3 different iterations of Valentine.
Yeah.
But you were no overnight success. I remember years ago, I think it was Billy Ray Cyrus came out and they said, oh, he's an overnight success with Achy Breaky Heart. Well, he was playing clubs in Kentucky for 14 years, 6 nights a week before that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. Everyone's an overnight success. I mean, I didn't have my first hit record till I was 33 almost, and I started at 15. And that's in those days. I was talking to a few friends of mine that have done, American Idol and stuff like that. Daughtry, who's really good, but he was good. He had his own band. That's why he was better than most of those acts, even though he didn't win, but he's the one that's really making a living. That I used to play 160 minutes of music a night. Think about it, 4 sets, 40 on, 20 off, 40 on, 20 off. So you do that 5 nights a week. You, just by process of elimination, you find out what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what's this, what's that. And the problem is with some of these shows, yes, they might be talented, but they don't have a show. Right. In other words, they can come on once a week and sing a song, or they'd be cute, dance. But now you got to do it like an 80-minute, 90-minute show. What are you going to do? So I was prepared. In other words, I think some of the keys to success is preparation at the time of opportunity. Like in the old days, those fighters, he's ready to fight. They're always in shape.
So Frank, in regards to the documentary,
Mhm.
what prompted you to bring it from life to cinema?
Well, okay, I want to make something really clear because there a lot of the press they're going, wow, Frank's it's like a self-advertising for Frank and he's the producer. Not true. They came to me. I wasn't planning on doing a documentary in my life. I figured, first of all, who cares? You know, at this point, I've been around for so long. So it was this young filmmaker, Derek Wayne Johnson, who came up with the idea. And I was kind of first, yeah, sure, kid. You know, because I've heard this stuff for years. Hey, you know what? We're going to do this. And it never happens, right? So I was like, whatever. So I gave him all the names of the people that I knew that I liked that were friends of mine, like Danny Aiello, you know, John Oates, who I was in a group with, and stuff like that. And they did the rest. So I wasn't privy to any of the interviews. I wasn't there. So, and I wasn't made producer until after the movie was finished, almost coming out. My manager goes, well, don't you think Frank should have a producer credit since like he gave you everybody on the show? So that's what it was. So it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to produce this and I'm going to do this thing on me. It wasn't.
Well, I'm glad you know, that's a good thing to know. Not that it makes a difference in it for us, but I mean, that is interesting.
But
And,
you know,
and
there's some
he did
people
a
out
great
there.
job.
Well, there's some
He did a
people out there who want to give me the
fantastic
needle, you know, no matter what you do. I mean, no matter what you really do, you could vent the cure to every disease. And if they don't like you and they got a thing, because maybe they don't like your brother, they like a movie or something, you can't win. So you just let it pass. You know, what is
That
it?
comes up in the documentary, Frank. You know, they ask you some of those questions, and it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, where you know, in the documentary, you admit, you know, yeah, sometimes I got a little bit bitter. I mean, but you're still here, you're still doing it, and the staying alive. I was saying to Bill, how do you get 9 songs in a movie and still have trouble and get nominated,
Yeah.
right, for all these major awards and still have trouble getting a record deal after that? Like, I'm blown away when I heard that.
You know, I mean, here's the thing, because like what Arnold says,
it's not easy because you live in the shadow. And every time you get a great job, you know, people say you probably got that because of your brother. He didn't. He got this because of his talent.
He's gone through hell. I mean, they would put signs up, appearing tonight, Rocky's brother.
Rocky's brother. Oh man, come on. I felt like a complete and absolute failure.
I wrote the songs. No one wrote the songs. And Hollywood is not that generous. I don't care who your brother is, who your mother is. They're not going to put in lousy songs because of that. They're not that generous. They have to work. And John Travolta happened to really like the songs. My brother liked the songs. And then, you know, Robert Stigwood, yeah, he goes, great. I liked it. But there was, I mean, at the beginning, there was not a chance in hell that I was going to get a song in Spiegel of Saturday Night Fever. But I think what happened, I think I morphed into Tony Manero in a sense that he wanted to up his game, yes, you know, from where he was to now, going to Broadway. And so I figured, well, this is do or die, man. This is now or never. I'm 32 years old. I mean, I've put my whole life into this. And so I think it was a stream of consciousness when I was writing the song, because I read the script and I don't know how it is. I mean, it just came out. You know, I think it may be years and years of subconsciousness or something of, because I felt the same rejection he felt. Okay, Tony Manero. I mean, I was so used to getting rejected that when I wouldn't get rejected, I'd get like a panic attack. I said, Jesus Christ. I mean, you know, you get so used to like you go into an audition. Okay, well, I probably won't get it, you know. But because this business can really beat you up. You know, it's very rare. And my brother will be the first one to tell you, a lot of it is luck. A lot of it is luck. And the people who you're with and timing. What if Rocky came out 2 years later? Who knows? What if Burt Reynolds did it or Ryan O'Neal, who they wanted? Wouldn't have been the same movie. What made it what it was, that was so raw And nobody other than Burgess Meredith, no one knew who anyone else in the movie was, other than Burgess. And he's a great actor, but he was known as the Riddler or the Penguin. What was he? The Penguin.
The Penguin.
Penguin. Yeah, right. Here's a guy that did Mice and Men, great movies, and he's known as the Penguin. It's like, it's like, so, but he's the only one that was really known in the movie. I mean, Talia Shire, not everyone remembers her from Godfather, because that was a little before then. But I mean, she wasn't like a household name. So, and he wasn't. So that's what kind of made the whole thing work. Maybe if it was a famous actor, it wouldn't have worked. Maybe it was the idea that it was an unknown guy that made it work. And maybe he was staying alive. Maybe it was this point in my life. Maybe that was my own little Rocky story, kind of, okay, now it's the time to hit it. And maybe that's what happened.
And you did.
And I did. But, again, I got screwed again, on the Academy Awards.
Right.
That was the weirdest thing ever. I finished my solo album, and I was doing the album cover with a great photographer who was actually his first, Greg Gorman, who went on to be, top fashion. So I'm doing that, and I'm there with the photographers and the hairdressers and everything, and they're announcing the Academy Awards that day. Okay, so I'm saying to myself, "There's no way I'm not going to get nominated because there's only 5 songs." So it's been the same 5 songs for the Golden Globes, same 5 songs for the Grammys. Unless a new song just popped up like yesterday, it was, and again, I wasn't planning on winning. I thought my friend Michael Cimbello, who wrote Maniac, and sang Maniac, was going to win because that was a great song, and I'm a friend of Michael. So I'm sitting there drinking champagne with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend, believe it or not, was one of the Solid Gold dancers.
I believe.
That's how I met her on the show. I said, "Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad having a hit record. Thank you very much." Anyway, so we're there like this to go, "Your brother's calling." I'm there. "Oh, Christ, who died? What happened?" You know what I mean? He goes, "I got bad news." I go, "What?" I said, "Did someone die?" He goes, "Well, maybe you didn't get nominated." I go, "Excuse me? I didn't get nominated? Why?" He goes, "Now, this is weird. My song's number 1. Barbara Streisand's From Yentl's song was like 98 with an anchor, okay? They take my song out and put another one of her songs in that's even more obscure than the one that was nominated." And I said, "Are you kidding me, man?" And that really hurt, because whether I won or not, it would have been great to have been nominated. I had 2 brothers, one nominated for acting, one nominated for music, whether you win or not, just to be in that, you know what I mean? So that's politics. There's no way her song should have been there. It never got charted, but that's politics.
Well, was there ever any kind of criteria or anything that was ever shared on that? Because I know whether it's the movies themselves or in this particular case, the songs, there are years where I'm like, what is that? Where did that come from?
How about Saturday Night Fever didn't win the Oscar? The best soundtrack in the history of didn't win. How about Eye of the Tiger didn't win for Eye of the Tiger is played probably 50,000 times a day.
Yeah.
Didn't get the Oscar. Up Where We Belong from Officer and Gentleman won. Come on. My brother doesn't win for Rocky Balboa. I mean, no, for Creed.
Yeah.
But he
that
loses
was,
to a
I was
movie.
disappointed in that.
Well, first of all, he hadn't won a Golden Globe in 40 years. He won a Golden Globe. He won the Critics' Choice, which he's never won. Even the people in the audience were there. "Oh, this is great. Sly's going to win." Because most of these kids grew up on his movies. And he lost to a movie nobody saw, Bridge of Spies, to an actor that was in the movie 8 minutes that nobody knew. I got in a lot of trouble because I went ballistic. I said, "This is the biggest BS Hollywood bang, bing, bam, bam I've ever seen in my life." And I wasn't alone. A lot of other people, even the people that, if you watch the show, that were in the audience that he was running against, they went like this. Ooh. They didn't know who this guy was. No, Steven Spielberg. Why? He's one of the most powerful men in show business. Can he tell people, hey, listen, my movie's in trouble, see if you can vote? I don't know if that happened, but could be. But I know one reason that was probably one of the best performances he ever did in his life.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was BS. But you know what? At this point, no one watches the Academy Awards anymore. No one cares. It was down 60%. No one watches the Golden Globes or the Grammys because they become platforms for politics, and no one cares. It's an entertainment show. You want to get on a political platform, do it on your own time. But the average person, and I've learned that on stage. I remember Frank Sinatra told me, he goes, never insult your audience. Meaning, in his terms, you go out, you do your job, you try to present yourself as best you can, you take care of yourself, you do the stuff, you rehearse, you do your show. Don't go out and be a jerk and sit there and don't play any of the songs that they paid to come see you sing. As I've seen some artists do. They think they're really artsy fartsy. I said, really? Well, they didn't pay to hear those songs. Yeah. So I come from a different school. I used to open for Don Rickles all the time, and he's from the old school. So you don't show up 4 minutes late. You get your ass on stage when it's 8 o'clock, not 8:05, 8. And you're off at 8:30, because guess who's sitting in the wings looking at you like this? Don Rickles, because he's ready to go on. Or if the audience went crazy, he would go like this. He'd go, like, do another song. He would say, oh, go ahead. You know what I mean? But with those type guys, there's no excuse. The show goes on, pal. They don't care. If Frank Sinatra's mother's plane crashed into a mountain, guess what? He did the show that night. That's the way it is.
Frank, how did you meet Sinatra? And I know, okay, I'm going to share something with you a while ago. I want to say it's 10 years ago, 2010, something like that. I sing with Trey Bella. We're an Italian-American trio. Yeah. And we've done a couple of the festivals that you were on. And the one festival, we were waiting to go on, and you were having dinner with your dad and Connie Francis, and I don't know who else. You guys
was that the one in Jupiter with Florida?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's right. My father, God rest his soul. Yeah.
We met him briefly. It was very nice. How did you meet these people?
Well, Sinatra?
Icons, yes. And Sinatra and Tony Bennett gave you a great shout out after you released your album.
Frank Sinatra, first time I met him. Oh, I know I met him. For a minute, we had the same manager, Elliot Weissman. So I met Frank when he played the Cerritos, and I have a picture, it's in the documentary, me standing next to him. That was the only time, seriously, I was ever kind of like in awe, like almost like a little nod, because my whole life I've seen that face, and there he was. I mean, I can't, how many times I've listened to those songs and everything, more so than when I met the Beatles, more so. When I met Frank, it was like, wow. I go, do you mind if I have a picture, Mr.? He goes, come here, boy. And I got a picture. And then I met him other times at Trader Vic's with his daughter and people like that. And that was pretty awesome, man, because there's nothing that Frank Sinatra has not won. Everything, Oscars, presidential award. So that was pretty amazing. That was pretty amazing. And he's playing the Hollywood Bowl. So I have like front row seats, because of Elliot Weissman's manager, right? I'm there with the date. I said, what's better than this? Drinking wine under the stars, this far away from Frank Sinatra, like right here, right? And this girl's like giving me she's like a piece of cardboard. I'm sitting there watching the show. And then after the show, and I'm kind of like bummed at this point. I thought it'd be like fun. It was fun watching him. Don Rickles would always come out with 2 shot glasses of Jack Daniels. And they would, talk to the audience. So Don walks out, gives Frank salute. And I swear, God, I got to find this footage. He says, is Frankie Stallone in the audience? And I'm there, like, I'm in shock. He goes, I heard you know album you did with Billy May. Knock my socks off, kids. Salute. Okay. Now the girl's on me like a cheap suit. So I call a cab, send her home. I go party with the chairman of the board, baby. Yeah. So that was payback on that one. I said, yeah, I can either stay with a bad date or go hang with Frank. I think I made the right move on that one.
No, well, you know what, Frank? Bottom line is you've made a lot of right moves, And again, we know you've got a lot of folks to talk to about the documentary. We really appreciate you.
Well, we can do it again. To be continued.
Oh,
we can do it again.
We would love that, because I'd like to go back to a little bit on that Oscar conversation, pick that up with you a little bit.
Anytime you want to do it, because what happened, my publicist is on hiatus now because he's getting married. So I've been booking these things myself, and I think I might book them too close. But I'm open anytime you want to do it.
That sounds great.
If you want to do it next week, just let me know, or this week, let me know.
Yeah, we may.
I kind of overlapped myself today.
Yeah, no, we run into that every once in a while ourselves, but we weren't going to let anything get in the way of having this conversation with you. So as we close out, I just want to say one thing. I want to share this with you. On my playlist when I go to the gym, and by the way, one of my favorite parts of the documentary is when the credits are rolling and Arnold's giving you crap while you're trying to do it. Yeah, that was awesome. But I just want you to know, if I ever need an extra boost, or if I got to take things to the next level at the gym, I crank up one of two songs, and one of them is Far From Over, and I get moving.
Perfect, man.
So thank you for that.
Deal.
Yep. And
but Bill and Rosie, contact me,
Okay.
next few days if you want to finish some stuff up. We
Definitely.
can do it. We can add it on, because you edit the show, right, and put it on.
We do.
So if you want to continue, we can do that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we will.
Okay.
It has been so much fun.
Yeah, we'll talk about Philly and them guys downtown, down the shore.
All yous guys.
Yeah.
The accent, I'll tell you what gave it away for me. The guy goes, "How'd you know a guy's from Philly?" I said, "Because we was in the gym and he's looking at the guy, goes, hey, yo, that guy's real muscular." I said, that's not even a word. That's only Philadelphia, muscular.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's right up there with the Acme. Yeah.
The Acme, or here was a great one. My piano player's from Philly. He said a sentence and every word was incorrect. Hey, yo, that don't go there yet. I go, whoa. I said, that's 5 out of 6, man. What planet are you from? I swear to God. He was like, hey, yo, kid, that don't go there yet. I go, oh, God. You didn't pass English, did you? Hey, nah, you can go there. I said, oh, God. Okay, so.
It's giving us a bad name.
We'll examine the
Continue.
accent. We'll do the thing with Philly going down to Billy's and stuff next time.
Definitely. Frank, thank you so much. Folks,
Thanks,
thanks
Rosie.
for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Bill. Bye-bye.
I know exactly the day I opened my mouth to sing. It was a Sunday, all the relatives over at the house. It was an old Italian song. And I didn't know what the hell the words were. I was like 6, 7 years old. It was E Compare. All of a sudden I just started singing along with it. It just seemed natural. For some reason, it was effortless for me. I never had a pitch problem. I could just sing.
Please welcome Frank Stallone.
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 In his world and his talent, he's every bit as good as I am at what I try to do.
He's a 5-tool guy. He can sing, he can act, he can perform, he can write, and he can fight like a son of a bitch. He was always kind of performing. He had this kind of theatrical thing. Frank was always kind of on. He sings his ass off, always did.
Frank has style and Frank has endurance.
He likes to talk a lot.
He can talk.
He's a force. He's the real deal. Everybody knows, yeah, he did a little doo-wop thing in the first Rocky film, and they think, oh, that's cute. Sylvester had his brother sing a little thing at the beginning. And then you dig deeper and you find out, wow, this guy's a tremendous musical artist in his own right.
It was something I was born to do. And I was able for once in my life to be able to show people what I could do. This is the chance of a lifetime.
He was into music 24 hours a day and knew that was his calling. He never quit.
I don't think the public took him serious.
People are going to be thinking of Sylvester Stallone. You just think of him as soon as you see Frank.
It's not easy because you live in the shadow, and every time you get a great job, people say you probably got that because of your brother. He didn't. He got this because of his talent.
He's gone through hell. I mean, they would put signs up appearing tonight. Rocky's brother.
Rocky's brother. Oh man, come on. I felt like a complete and absolute failure.
Frank, I'm sure, knew what he was getting himself into. He just loved to play.
Seems like that beating I gave you last night must have rattled your bells, huh?
I always wonder, what has kept me in this game? But, you know, I just keep coming back to it. I love it.